We've got a new toy to look through Ali's projected lineups for the upcoming Clásico, which we're very excited about. And we're also very excited about this, Ali.
So excited about me or the toy?
I'm excited about the toy. I'm going to touch it in a minute, and I'm hopefully not going to break it. So talk us first of all through your projected or preferred starting 11 for Real Madrid.
And then this is what I would do. Now, it may change, but I think the way I look at it is that the players that are available, there are no injuries to account for, and so Keylor Navas makes it back into the starting lineup. He hasn't been good. Now, there's no question about that. But I think he deserves the opportunity to come good. And I believe this is a big match for Real Madrid. He's been in big matches for Real Madrid. I think he starts. In terms of the back four, I think there's no question about who will play there. Carvajal gives his team a natural outlet down the right-hand side. Marcelo does the same thing down the left-hand side. You will see Marcelo move up and down the line there, supporting Ronaldo and supporting whoever is coming out of the midfield into the wider areas. The key for me for Real Madrid, you would think would be in the front three. I think it's in the middle. It's what Casemiro does, is what Toni Kroos does, and Luka Modric. Now, Casemiro has been excellent for Real Madrid. These two guys, Modric and Toni Kroos, they haven't had the sort of season that they had last year. They will be important. If they're able to control the rhythm of the game out of the midfield, it makes it a whole lot more difficult for Barcelona. In terms of the front three, well, you need a big performance from the big guy. He's got to have a big performance, and he hasn't been playing well. The truth of the matter is that Cristiano Ronaldo, yes, he won the Ballon d'Or, but he has not played well this season. That's fact. That's not opinion. Just look at the numbers and you see the sort of performances, that the productivity or lack thereof by Ronaldo in La Liga. It's fact. He has to play better. Isco, he will come inside. He will go out wide. He will go in areas where now he can combine with Benzema. We'll see him appearing on the left. We'll see him appearing underneath. Ronaldo will switch over at times. Benzema will stay more central. If he goes out wide, then watch for Ronaldo to go on the inside. But again, the key for me in Real Madrid is what the guys in the three in the midfield, whatever they do, that's how far Real Madrid will get in this match.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it? Because it's that 4-3-3 that we all know about Real Madrid. They're very comfortable with, regardless of what the form is, perhaps of Ronaldo or others individually. But when you talk about Barcelona and what they're going to come up against, it's a somewhat changed formation in terms of what we've seen in recent weeks for the 4-4-2 being more solid.
Well, and you got injuries playing a part here, and I think that makes the mind up of Valverde as to what he wants to do with this team. So Vermaelen steps into the back line simply because there are no other choices. The other choice is Javier Mascherano. Thanks, but no thanks. He's done. His game said match. He's not playing with Barcelona, not at this level. And so Vermaelen comes in. He's been pretty good over the last couple of weeks. What do you have out of the back four? Not a lot of surprises. Sergio Roberto instead of Semedo, because I think Sergio Roberto in this sort of match gives you a little bit more discipline defensively, a little bit more organization and awareness as to what his job is defensively, and because Barcelona is going away from home. So perhaps a little bit more conservative with Sergio Roberto. What you do out of the midfield is actually a change for Barcelona, and it's the fact that you want to bring Iniesta onto the field because you like his creativity, but you have to cover him defensively, and so that's where Paulinho comes in. Not because he's going to be pretty with the ball, but because he's going to give you athleticism. He's going to appear on top of the 18-yard box, but he's also going to appear in the defensive 18-yard box. And when he does that, he covers for the lack of athleticism of Iniesta, and it frees Iniesta to do his thing in the attacking half. Lionel Messi, freedom to go wherever he wants to. He can go inside, he can go underneath. When he goes underneath, watch for Paulinho to join in the attack with Luis Suarez. Luis Suarez will stay central. When he makes those run out wide, then that provides space for Messi to work on the inside. Sergio Busquets, who was rested against Deportivo La Coruña because of the fear of a yellow card and a possible suspension, he'll be fresh, and Rakitic, who play in a deeper role against Deportivo La Coruña, will be more on the right-hand side of the midfield for Barcelona.
Based on all of that, which way is it going?
Oh boy, it's desperation time for Real Madrid. This is a must-win. And yet it feels that the level of play for both teams, I think there is great disparity there. Real Madrid has not been good. They haven't. And so they were impressive against Sevilla, but that's one performance out of many. If you're going to believe in form and you're going to believe in to who the best player in the world is right now, that's Lionel Messi. He's a difference maker. Barcelona goes into the Santiago Bernabeu. At least get a draw. But I think what they do is that they get a win and they kill La Liga for good.
Okay, so maybe not as conservative as the outlook may suggest at starting 11. We'll see who performs better in the big one, of course. Full coverage here at ESPN FC.
And there we have it, El Clásico completed. With me to discuss the action as ever, former professional footballers turned current pundits, Ian Five Ankles and Jason. Lads, what does El Clásico mean to you guys?
Well, I think it literally translates as the classic.
It means Real Madrid versus Barcelona.
And what a Real Madrid-Barcelona it was. Lionel Messi there walking out onto enemy territory. He didn't care. He was wearing his gloves like his aunt had just given him a birthday present, and he enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, he sniffs his gloves a lot. I don't know what his aunt's been doing with them, but it must smell mighty good.
I know for a fact that those gloves are made of shadows.
Stinky shadows.
There they are shaking hands before the game, showing that they hate each other, but in a societally acceptable way. But that friendship evaporated as they crossed that white line onto the field itself. And I'm talking about the real match field here, not the pre-game field, which is the training field. Was it a penalty?
Tough call. I think we'd need to look at the replay.
I can't remember.
Well, here's the replay itself. Actually, before we... Oh, no.
That's too close.
I know.
That's a terrible replay.
My PS4 controller, it's the shoulder buttons are actually damaged, so it zooms in inappropriately. So just judging from the close-up nature of the skin, the wind on the movement, is that a penalty?
I can't tell anything from what we've just looked at.
Well, regardless, it was a penalty because here's Messi striking it sweetly. He struck that sweetly. How sweetly did he strike it?
Sweet as pecan pie.
Sweet like a knapsack full of cherries.
Sweet as honey on my head.
Sweet like a Piccadilly sandwich.
Sweet as sugar in my shoes.
Sweet like an 8-hour sleep.
Sweet as fruity knees.
Sweet like a turtle's inners.
Sweet as a cow bum with chocolate.
Sweet like a bald cap made of a real man's skin.
Sweet as ice cream.
One quickly became two. The Bernabeu shocked to its very core. Iniesta, he's very old.
He's just become a grandfather, and I can see him playing on until he's well into his 70s.
I have been to the Bernabeu.
Is that why you call it the Bernabeu, not the Bernabeu like everyone else?
Yeah, you go on the tour, you pay €85, you come out and you say Santiago al Bernabeu.
And then they came back into the game. They picked a key from a locksmith. The locksmith gave them the key, and they found a key back into the match. Real Madrid, I'm talking about, with one goal from Benzema. This goal can only be described as tippy-tappy boomtown Benzema.
Yes, and interestingly, if you look at his celebration, he goes from really happy, very suddenly his expression drops into sadness. And that's because when he was a little boy, his father took him to one side and said, "Son, you must never, ever, ever be happy, ever." And
Then-
he's honoured that.
Sorry. Then Benzema struck again. Benzema, what a player. 29 years old, the face of a 45-year-old. Does that help Real Madrid?
Yeah, I think he looks like that because he pickles his own head in vinegar to toughen it up for headers. But interestingly, he honoured his father there by looking miserable as sin again.
I've been to the Bernabeu.
Yes. 3-2. This time to Barcelona. They went ahead again, courtesy of the toothy magician. He struck the ball against the keeper. Then, who was in to pop it home? Denis Suarez. Denis Suarez, what a player. Under the radar, good player.
Change your name, son. Change your name, because at the minute you've got the same surname as Luis Suarez.
Do you think that hinders him?
Definitely. I mean, what if it were me? I'd be Denis Melenya or Denis the Croatian.
He's Spanish, though.
El Croat. It's just a name.
Denis the Croatian is good. I'm going to call him that from now on.
Right, it sounds quite good, to be fair. You're absolutely right. And then a penalty decision again in the dying embers of the game. This time to Real Madrid. Isco went down. Was this one a penalty?
Who'd be a referee? I mean,
Ex-
let's have a look at the replay, I think.
Yeah, who would be a referee indeed? Because this one was contentious. Oh, I've just remembered again that the shoulder button.
That's
is
too close.
It's useless.
Okay, just from the trajectory of the ball as it grinds to a halt on the turf, can you tell anything from that?
No, obviously not. I mean,
Yeah.
why even ask us? You've seen, that's a rubbish replay, mate.
Yeah. Need to really work on those. But
Yes, you
speaking
do.
of work, no work put into this penalty. A Panenka from Ronaldo. The keeper was equal to it. Has Ronaldo done everything he can, and that's why he can't be bothered?
Well, yeah, interestingly, in his press interview afterwards, he said, I've won the Ballon d'Or 5 times. I don't give a stuff about anything. I'm just going to be rubbish now because it's funny.
If anything, is it more impressive that he's throwing the game?
I think so, yeah. I mean, that takes some guts to be rubbish on purpose.
And that arguably lost them La Liga because they're too far away to win it now.
His task next year is to get them relegated.
Interesting. That would be a very good challenge, and one that we are excited for next season, because this season is over in La Liga. 3-2 it finished in El Clásico. We'll see you again.
Sorry, 4-2.
4-2. No, well, okay, it did finish 4-2. There's the goal from Messi, but honestly, that didn't really help our narrative.
We've got to include that.
Oh, because, I mean, it didn't really change the actual
What about
game, though,
Messi's
did it?
stats?
Well, he doesn't need any more stats. 3-2 it
Were you saying he's
finished
got enough stats?
at the Bernabeu. It's back to Yeo.
I've been to the Bernabeu.